back to our review of Good News. We're looking at the Good newspaper for the October edition. And this time we're looking at how can you be thankful when things don't go your way. That's an intriguing one there. Mark's going to look at that. And I'm looking at a woman who has a terrible grief and she finds hope in that grief. So we're looking at both those things. Now, to start us off, Mark, over to you.
Thank you. I love sports. I also love God. And I love the combination when athletes that I admire, athletes that I've watched perform, give thanks, give glory to God. Now, the interesting thing to me is I've seen these athletes give glory and thanks to God after they compete, even when they don't win the top prize. There's an article on the back page of this month's edition of the Good newspaper that highlights just that very thing. A British athlete who competed in this summer's Olympics in Paris did not win the top prize, but still gave glory to God. And the article also details other competitions this diver has been involved in. Didn't even place in the medals, but was still giving thanks to God. You see, in the Christian life, because of who God is, there's a consistency that can take place where we're still thankful to God, still giving glory and praise to God, even when things don't go our way. How about you? Can that take place in your life? Well, read the article and maybe you'll be inspired to consider or reconsider the place of God in life, even and especially when things don't go the way you'd like them to. Colin.
Thanks, Mark. And the article I'd like to look at is on page 3 of the Good newspaper this month. It's entitled Ex-Goth Finds Hope at Last. And it's a sad story about a young 22-year-old girl who basically is in terrible grief because she's lost her father to suicide. She was 15 when she lost her father, and this has been sort of working in her all that time, and she's really angry at God. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way. Who do you be angry at? Even people who don't believe in God can get angry at God. It's interesting, isn't it? And we see in the Bible, actually, there's songs, there's psalms they're called in the Bible, where the psalmist gets really angry at God. I mean, we can get angry with him, and we need to sometimes as well. And she kept asking, why did this happen? How could it happen? She felt so abandoned. And yet something happened to her one day, something really changed, and that was that she had this supernatural event occur. She heard the audible voice of God. Now, not many people ever get that. I never get that. I hear God speaking when I read the Bible and through circumstances, but it did happen to her, and I do believe that these things can happen because God is active in our world. So don't write him off. And she goes on to say that people will always let you down, but God will never let her down. So that's a big change from where she was to where she is now. And she says that she hasn't got all the answers, but she has a dependable God. And I know from my own experience, and I don't know what Mark thinks, probably the same, is that when you've got a dependable God, you don't need all the answers. You know that you are in the right place with him. How about you? Have you ever prayed? Have you ever asked God for some sort of supernatural event? That would be interesting. Why don't you try that? Mark, over to you.
Yes, why don't you try that? And why don't you try to get this edition of the Good newspaper either online or get a physical copy and read these two stories and many others which can challenge you, which can encourage you, which can, maybe you will be willing to try God, to try Jesus Christ, because he is faithful. Jesus is faithful. The transformation is very real, and it can take place in your life. Thanks. God bless.